And I can click go live for you for mine because I'm on that page as well.
So it should be streaming on my side.
Yeah, we're streaming now. Looks like from my page.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sport and the first edition of Let's Talk Soccer here on Let's Talk Sport, the football show or the sports show about football or soccer as we call it. They call it in America, we call it football over in the UK. Welcoming this week, my first guest is Jamie. Welcome, Jamie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, it's a weird one, isn't it? Thursday nights during the football week, but yeah, apart from that, I'm all right.
Yeah, I had planned to have it early on in the week, but schedules are hectic at the moment, so we brought it down. The main thing is that we're here to bring you the football talk and coverage. We've already had some comments in the comments section. We've got Doodoo1, who's made 3 comments. He said, "Oh God, please, yes, 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 yes." I hope that's in reference to the title. You got. He said, "I don't really think this will happen, but I am, and all the Bayern fans would love this to happen, and Lewandowski and Erling Haaland up front will be unstoppable." So yes, that's a good start to get into this podcast. Erling Haaland spotted in Munich, Jamie. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so I was reading a bit about it before, but apparently, it's while we put up this title and this topic, apparently in the last hour, according to the Mirror said earlier on that Haaland was spotted in Munich at a restaurant. But apparently in the last hour, Barcelona boss, who is, of course, Xavi, as we all know, apparently has jetted out to Germany to meet Erling Haaland to win the transfer race for him. So apparently, according to Marca as well, which I think is a Spanish newspaper, I'm not sure, apparently Barcelona closing in on Haaland. So while we're here talking about Bayern Munich in the last hour or so, we've got Barcelona now interested in him. But I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if it's one of those sessions where Erling Haaland and his agent and his representatives are probably talking to more than one club ahead of the summer, and then to just see what each club can offer him or what could potentially happen this summer. Because I think it's fair to say I'll be very surprised, and I think you'll be very surprised if Erling Haaland stayed at Bayern for another season. I think he knows how far he could take Dortmund. So did I just say he'll stay? Did I just say Bayern for another season?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, I meant Borussia Dortmund. So I can't see him staying for another season at Borussia Dortmund. Just so I can clarify that. I must admit, Bayern Munich, it would go down the route of Robert Lewandowski, wouldn't it? Where he would be the main striker at Dortmund, but that time he went for free to Bayern Munich in 2014, which is probably the best free transfer of all time, if you ask me. I think we talked about that on Let's Talk Sport once. So I can't see, I don't know, Haaland looks a bit more passionate about Dortmund, and I think he would know that some of the Dortmund fans would not like if he went to Bayern Munich. So I think he'll leave Germany, but it doesn't surprise me if Bayern Munich have something to do with Erling Haaland. But it's pretty clever for Haaland to still turn up in Munich and probably not even talk to Bayern Munich at all, and actually talk to other clubs around the world.
Yeah, I think it's, like you said, it's an interesting one. I don't think he'll be at Dortmund next season. Isn't there reports of a 65 million buyout clause for this summer?
I think so.
And then I think, Bayern obviously going to be the conversation because they like to steal Dortmund's best players. The only one that hasn't really gone there is Marco Reus, and credit to him for sticking around at Dortmund. I think it's going to be interesting. Barcelona get Haaland. They sorted out their the finances a little bit, haven't they, at Barcelona? It'd be interesting because I saw a post on social media before which seemed to show a graphic of the different players, and most of the players at Barcelona are set to sign or will be in their 11 are free transfers. So that's quite unbelievable, really.
It's mad, isn't it, how all of a sudden Barcelona could just go and sign players. I mean, Aubameyang, only just got him. He's doing great. He's already scored like 6 goals, I think, for Barcelona since he joined from Arsenal. But I mean, how long do they want to keep Aubameyang for? I mean, if they get Haaland, then let's be honest, Barcelona for next season should be competing in the Champions League if they could get Champions League football for next season. They're struggling in the table, but the form is looking very good for them to maybe get one of those Champions League spots for next year. So I'll be honest with you. I honestly think the club that Erling Haaland will go to is Manchester City. Unless Robert Lewandowski could still leave this summer, and I honestly think Man City's top two targets are them two. They won't buy both, of course, but they'll want one of them. And I think with Lewandowski, short term, great signing. Never been in the Premier League though, but Haaland's the same. But Haaland's a lot younger, and it's 65 million. Man City know that they can afford that. So I think that's what could happen. I think Man City will have a choice of one of them. And Real Madrid also want Haaland because it looks as though Mbappe is going to stay at PSG potentially for nearly 800 grand a week if he does sign that contract extension. So who knows? It's one of those. There's a few clubs involved, and I think this is still early days in this whole Haaland transfer saga. I mean, I used to hope that Man United would get him, but he won't come to us. No chance in hell.
I did have to laugh when you said before about it being clever that he's gone to Bayern to talk, gone to Munich and then talked to other clubs. It's a bit like speed dating, isn't it? I could just imagine him sat in a restaurant and then an agent from, or I remember a staff from each club just walks in. You got 10 minutes, go.
Yeah. Give me your best offer. Well, the guy from Bayern just gave me a better offer, so I'm going to stick with him, I'm afraid. But I just can't. Okay, yes, he's been spotted in Munich, but I don't think Bayern are interested. I think they would love a player like Haaland. I'm sure they wouldn't say no to that. But I think they know this time they wouldn't be able to get him unless no other clubs after him. You know what I mean? Like, just Bayern Munich do spend a bit of money now and again, but they're not like they don't spend like PSG or Man City would, or even Real Madrid. So there's quite a few clubs in for him. I must admit, I'm surprised about Barca talking to him, but who knows? Xavi, absolute legend of a player, would Haaland like to play for someone like him, even though he hasn't got much of a reputation yet as a manager? Who knows? But I think it's a very, very interesting saga. And I think whoever gets him, well, it's going to be one hell of a signing if it goes to plan.
We've got a few more comments. Greg Livingston says, hi. Hi, Greg. Welcome back to watching us again. And then got someone called So with 1,000,000 dots afterwards saying hi as well. Hi to you, So. And then Jamie Burgoyne, that man again, has replied saying, Erling Haaland, the poor man's Daniel Uda.
Oh, I know what he means. I mean, no one can afford Daniel Uda because he's priceless.
There we go. Sticking in Germany, Jamie, let's preview two fixtures from the Bundesliga this weekend. You've got Leverkusen versus Bayern and Mainz versus Dortmund. Since we talk about these two clubs, we might as well go and preview their fixtures first.
Yeah, I think, the Bundesliga, as always, as we all know, it's normally Bayern's league. This is them trying to go for I think it's their 10th league in a row.
Yeah.
So if they do that, then it's some hell of achievement. They should be the favourites still. They're 8 points clear of Dortmund now. Both teams are on the same amount of games. So really, Dortmund, as always, hoping that Bayern can slip up. But, Bayern, Leverkusen, on paper, should be a good game. Leverkusen are third. They're 4 points clear from Leipzig. So Bayer Leverkusen having not a bad season. They might steal a Champions League spot. And who knows? But Bayern Munich just seem to always pick up the results, even when they're not playing their best. That's what's been really good with Nagelsmann. They've had a couple of shocking results when they've been on the losing end this season, like when they went to Borussia Mönchengladbach in the German Cup and got battered by more than 5 goals. But we know deep down that this Bayern team is good enough to win the league again. So I think Bayern Munich will beat Leverkusen. In terms of Mainz and Dortmund, see, Mainz, they've done well because last season they fought off getting themselves relegated. This season, they're playing at the midway point of the table. So it's been a great turnaround for them. And either way, their season should be safe. They're just over 10 points away from the relegation zone. So you'd think that'd be enough between now and the end of the season come May. But yeah, I think Bayern Munich should win their game comfortably. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dortmund had a draw with Mainz. It's just typical Dortmund. And we all remember last season when Mainz got a draw at Dortmund, when Dortmund could have won the game. It was a cracker behind closed doors.
A cracker behind closed doors. Moving on to the next game. And we're going to look at the Women's Women's League Cup final. I'm jumping the gun there with the Super League. And it's Manchester City women versus Chelsea women. What's going to be, I'm sorry, Joe. What's going to be a fantastic game of football? Oh, wow. What we think would be a fantastic game of football on paper, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about this game. I mean, how much women's football have you watched this season, may I ask, Joe?
I've not watched too much, not going to lie to you. A lot of the coverage is on Sky Sports, which I do have, but a lot of the time I've been watching other matches. I need to actually get back into watching the women's football. I think as a Liverpool fan, it's been a bit difficult when your game's not really on the TV, the Women's Championship.
Yeah.
So there's been a little bit less of an interest in watching the Women's Super League because the team's not in there, but really that shouldn't be an excuse. I'll admit that. Well,
there's no excuse this weekend because it's on BBC Two.
Oh, fantastic.
For our viewers in the UK, that pretty much means it's free, unless you don't pay a TV license. But yeah, it should be a good game. I mean, Chelsea are holding every trophy in England at the moment. They won the FA Cup back in December. They've got the Continental Cup from last season, and of course, this is them defending it again on Saturday. They're playing at AFC Wimbledon's ground for Saturday night, so 5:15 kickoff. Man City, though, first half of the season, not great under Gareth Taylor. Had a lot of injuries, a few players out now and again because of COVID as well, having to self-isolate during the season. But they've come back very strong since the new year. And I think it's fair to say that Man City might just get at least top 3 in the Women's Super League. But if they can get at least a trophy or two before the end of this season, they're still in the FA Cup. They beat Man United very, very well at Leeds Sports Village back on Sunday. 4-1 it ended after they were a goal down. And of course, they could win this cup in the Continental Cup on Saturday. So 2 trophies on offer for them. I still think they're too far out to win the Super League. I think Arsenal and Chelsea are not bad enough to concede. You know what I mean? Like they're consistent enough to get the results and not let Man City jump both of them to the title. So this is a big, big chance for Gareth Taylor after what has been a difficult season. But for Chelsea, though, they just love goals. They beat Leicester City in the Cup last weekend 7-0. Very comfortable, as you like, for Emma Hayes and her team. Very experienced. They all work well together. And when you've got Frank Kirby, Sam Kerr, Pamela Harder up front, it's a very difficult day for the Manchester City defenders. So I think Chelsea will win. I think it'll be a good game, though. It'll be a good 2-1. I'd say for Man City, keep an eye out for Lauren Hemp. I think she's been their most informed player this season. I'd say England's best player right now on the left wing. And for Chelsea, I think they'll pick up another trophy, which people need to remember as well. Chelsea are out of the Women's Champions League, so they could just focus on the league after this and then the cup for the FA Cup final in May if they get there.
Yeah, and looking at the Super League table, as you mentioned in here, Chelsea and Arsenal, the top 2 at the moment, City down in 5th place. Looking at that, Chelsea got 2 games in hand on Arsenal, so if they win them, they go a point clear at the top.
Yeah, I mean, 2 games. I mean, I was doing the Arsenal women's match last night, which was to get a game further away from Chelsea, and they beat Reading very convincingly 4-0. But I was saying on the watch long last night that the pressure's on Chelsea still to win those 2 games in hand. It's not just 1, it's 2 games, and I think that could be harder. And they know that Arsenal will be watching them when they're playing those matches in hand. But you'd expect Chelsea to do it. There's not actually that many more tougher fixtures for either team this season. Chelsea and Arsenal won't play against each other again this season. They had that goalless draw a few weeks ago. I think one of them might be playing Man City again, but I'm not sure on that. So it's I think between now and the end of the season, as long as they don't slip up Chelsea, they should win the league by a single point. So I think this league title will not be decided until the final match day, which is exciting because we had that last season as well in the Super League.
And sticking in Manchester, we're going to go across to the Premier League and the men's team. On Sunday at 4:30, it's the Manchester derby between Manchester City and Manchester United. Jamie, you're a Manchester United fan. Are you looking forward to this game?
You will be on Sunday. You will be on Sunday, surely.
I'll be praying for United win for one of the rare occasions in my lifetime when I've been doing that, yeah. But the win probability here, there's a stat here, win probability 69% for Manchester City, 18% of a draw, and 13% Manchester United. Doesn't bode well, really.
Well, it all, I mean, not that it really matters, but the recent history of us at the Etihad is actually pretty good for us. I think in our last 2 visits to their ground, we've won both of them in the Premier League. So, despite the criticism Solskjaer always got, he got the wins at Man City whenever he needed to. So we beat them 2-0 last season. Luke Shaw scoring one of them, I remember. I think Fernandes scored from the penalty spot, but that's typical Bruno goal. That. But we love you, really, Bruno. But yeah, I mean, I know this seems a bit daft, but I kind of don't want United to get Champions League for next season. Because I've been saying this where I kind of want United to be at rock bottom, which means no European football for next season, which is quite hard to even miss that now because of the Conference League on offer as well. If we're not going to have European football, I don't want us to get Conference League. That's just waste of time. No offense, UEFA, it just is. But yeah, I think for Man United, they'll go into it, of course, as underdogs on Sunday. But the way Man City are playing, they're just too good. They just always get the results. I mean, them and Liverpool are pretty much same standard right now. I think both teams have been a bit lucky here and there in the last few weeks with some of their wins, but I just can't see United doing it. I mean, we couldn't even beat Watford at home on Saturday, for God's sake. And that's a Roy Hodgson team, and that just made me sick. So the fact that we think that we can probably win this is a bit ridiculous, but I'm more focused on the Champions League because who knows, we might win that. We'll see.
Next joke. That's a hot take. That's a hot take because if you do win that come May, then everyone's going to be pointing out and at that clip of me saying next joke.
Well, what do you call it? Our mutual friend Luke, who's a Liverpool fan, he was on the phone to me the other day saying the quad is on, and I joked to him and said, "Yeah, you'll probably win the treble, but we'll beat you in the Champions League final."
We've got Jamie going to Stanley. How's your week being, mate? It's not been bad. I went to Wembley last Sunday and was at the football last night for the Liverpool Norwich game. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. 2 wins in a week. Happy days with that one. Greg Livingston says he predicts 3-0 City for the derby. And says, imagine United being in the Conference League with all the laughing emojis afterwards.
It'll be so bad. It really would. But my only concern about us not getting European football is not being able to get any, not for us to get any big names.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you need to have European football, I think. But I kind of wonder as well, the recruitment we've done has been shite anyway, regardless of our European status. So I don't really know. We'll see what the summer brings, but to tell you the truth, as a United fan, I'll be happy when this season is done and dusted.
You're looking at the table they're going to it. You are sat in 4th place with 47 points.
Somehow.
Arsenal have 3 games in hand on you and sit there with 45. So it looks like Arsenal are going to, in reality, all they have to do is win 1 or 2 of those games and they've leapfrogged you. Chelsea are 3rd with 50, Liverpool are 2nd with 60, but they've got a game in hand on City against Arsenal, and Manchester City are top with 66 points, 27 games played. So yeah, I think going into this one, it all points to Manchester City win, unfortunately. I know, rare occasion when I say that, and that I want United to win. I think you're looking at probably about 2-1, 3-1 to City, I think.
I think for Liverpool as well, they know that there's not, after this month, it really comes to the end of the season where games like this one, where City have got a big club to face, it's one of those, isn't it, where this is a good chance for Liverpool without having to put pressure on City with another big team playing them as tough opponents. But we'll see. They dominated us at Old Trafford. It could have been more goals that day at Old Trafford. So I'm glad I missed that game.
Ultimately, I think the title will be decided when Liverpool play City. But that's
when is that?
That is, I'll just double check for you, Jamie. I should really know off the top of my head. I know it's April. I just can't remember the exact day. Let's have a look for you. Liverpool versus Manchester City.
Is that at City's ground?
Yeah.
Ooh.
When the computer loads it, that is. 10th of April.
10th of April. Yeah, that could be the title decider. I think if City and Liverpool just keep winning their games until then, it really is the title decider. Still over a month to go, though.
Anything can happen.
Aye.
Looking at another Premier League game this week, I'm going to look at Monday night football between Tottenham and Everton. Antonio Conte's men have had a bit of a rough patch at the moment, and they exited the FA Cup in the week to Middlesbrough 1-0, whereas Everton face Bournemouth tonight. Could there be an upset at Goodison Park? Fingers crossed. Anyway, looking at this game for Monday Night Football, it could be an interesting game, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, it's typical of Spurs, isn't it? They go and beat Man City at the Etihad, and then they go and lose to Burnley, and then they go and lose to Middlesbrough. It's like, it just makes no sense. Like, I don't know if this is Conte or if that's just because this is what Spurs are always known for. I think you're looking at two Humpty Dumptys of clubs right now, where Everton have been shocking. I don't get the Frank Lampard appointment. I mean, he's not done too badly, but I think in the long run, he's not going to be there in my eyes. Dele Alli coming in, Van der Beek on paper again, great transfers. I'll be honest, I've not seen much of Everton to comment, but didn't they get battered by Southampton like 3 or 4-0 the other week? So that to me just shows that, of course, you've still got to give Lampard time, but that just says to me that they might never really change with this squad. And you know me, Joe, I'm a firm believer of sometimes you got to get rid of players to fix it. So yeah, it'll be an interesting game, but I can't. Is it at Spurs?
Yeah, it's at Spurs.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that was a draw, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got a feeling something like 1-1, 2-2. Anyway, just to tie off the Premier League, Marcelo Bielsa was sacked on Sunday, and Jesse March has replaced him. We've had plenty of discussions of that in the WhatsApp group. But what are your thoughts on that one?
What do you think?
Strange appointment. I think it was right to get rid of Bielsa, as much as he was a great manager for Leeds early on. I think he looked devoid of ideas in recent weeks, and the players just didn't seem to want to execute his orders. I'm sure that they still respect him as a bloke, but I think they just seemed a bit bored of his tactics. But to appoint Jesse March, the American that's had no Premier League experience, really they should have been hiring a manager with Premier League experience to try and keep them up, and then maybe in the summer you look at the likes of Jesse March or someone else. You don't want to hire Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce is a dinosaur; he's well past it. But you want to hire someone with some sort of ability in the Premier League to keep them up. I think with March, it's a big risk, and I think ultimately they'll probably see Leeds going down.
I mean, it did feel like a bit of a shock seeing the Leeds manager go, and I think I was reading on Twitter that there was a Leeds fan with his wife speaking to Bielsa outside the stadium after they knew he was sacked. And I think, Bielsa met his wife, kissed his wife on the cheek and shaked his hand, and he cried right in front of them. Bielsa did, so he was clearly thinking, what does he do now? And Leeds fans know, like, it doesn't matter what happened. He's a legend. At the end of the day, whether people like it or not, to any Bielsa haters out there, he got Leeds back to the Prem. Leeds hadn't been in the Premier League for over 15 years. So whoever's the first man to break that and get them back up is the legend, and that is Marcelo Bielsa. So I was a little bit shocked, but maybe because we're just so used to Bielsa at Leeds. You know, when a manager creates a legacy and has been there for a good while, like Simeone at Atletico, for example, you just never think they're going to get sacked. If anything, when it gets really bad, they'll just walk away. But no, not in this case with Bielsa. I don't get the Jesse March signing, really. I mean, Jesse March is a manager that only had half a season with RB Leipzig, which was this current season. And let's be honest, he fucked it up. The results were not good. And because of that, he got sacked. Leipzig were hoping, I think, to compete for the league again. But because they've had so many negative results under Jesse March, they couldn't give him any more time. They were like, no, we've got to let him go if we want to get Champions League football next season. They've turned it around, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if he's really a man that can save the club from relegation. We'll see. But I just think between now and the end of the season, new manager bounce is all that they're hoping for here, Joe. I don't think they've really thought about which manager to get. I think they're just relying on like when a team is near relegation, come near the season, but they just find a different manager and it just changes for them. I wouldn't be surprised next season Jesse March is sacked if they're still in the Premier League.
It's the definition of a panic appointment.
Oh yeah, easily. But I don't really know who else I'd have gone for, to be honest. I mean, which other managers are out of a job that might? I would maybe say Nigel Pearson, but yeah, I don't know. He had that. He kept Leicester up in one of the greatest escapes. Just the season before Leicester won the title, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Moving on, La Liga. Obviously, Marcelo Bielsa used to manage in the La Liga at one point in time. Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad. We were talking about Carlo Ancelotti this morning being linked with the Man United job. Real Madrid seem to have had a bit of a stuttering form, Jamie, but do you think they can get that back on track against Sociedad?
You'd think so. I mean, they're 6 points clear of the table right now, but it's a weird looking table from what me and you are used to seeing with La Liga. You normally expect to see Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid in that top three, but it's not that at all. Instead, it's Real Madrid, Sevilla, and Real Betis. Well, in all fairness, Barcelona are just a point behind third. So with the form Barcelona in, they've won 4 in the last 5. So they're picking it up, and Real Madrid have won 3 in the last 5 as well. So it's hit and miss. Atletico Madrid have lost 2 in the last 5. So it's a weird looking season for La Liga, but Real Madrid 6 points clear. You'd think under the management of Carlo Ancelotti, who's been at that club before and has guided them to a league title before, you'd think he should be able to control it between now and the end of the season. But who knows? Who knows what can happen? But Barcelona, who knows? What if they've got a game in hand? And if they win that game in hand, they go then 12 points behind Real Madrid. I know it's a lot to ask. Could they reduce that gap at all and get back to the top of the league before the end of the season? All I'm saying is watch this space. They're clearly going for it now under Xavi.
Wouldn't it be the ultimate footballing story, really? Or not the ultimate footballing story, but one of the ultimate stories where Barcelona come from that big of a gap and come out of nowhere after the start they had to the season. They're struggling under Koeman, and then obviously bringing in Xavi, who is relatively inexperienced as manager. He had a good record in, was it Dubai, wasn't it? Over that area?
Yeah,
Qatar,
I think it was. Or Qatar, yeah, something
Qatar,
like that.
Sorry. And then to come from, it's not, I don't think it'll happen, but come from behind to win the title, or at least push Real Madrid right to the end. That would be a cracking story for the world of football.
It certainly would. I think, and let's not forget, this is Barcelona's first season without Messi. So if they were to win a league trophy without him in the first season, that would be some statement as well. So I think we'll see what happens. But I think, Real Madrid, they know not to mess around with Real Sociedad. They've always been a team in the last year or so that keep fighting near those European spots in La Liga. So I think they know it won't be an easy job on the weekend. But at the end of the day, for Ancelotti, the motivation towards his players is, look, if we win, it's 3 points closer to that league title.
Just trying not to laugh. You mentioned Messi a minute ago. I've just been sent on WhatsApp a picture. It says Lionel Messi has played 1,882 minutes this season for PSG and scored 7 goals. Takumi Minamino has played 891 minutes, scored 9 goals.
Ha! Minamino loves the cup. He loves the League Cup or the FA Cup, I've noticed.
Super tacky.
Yeah.
Moving on to Serie A, the big standout fixture this weekend in Serie A is Napoli versus AC Milan. Now, AC Milan and Inter Milan battling out at the top of Serie A for the title. And obviously, Napoli are always a tough opposition to face, especially away from home, Jamie.
Napoli have had a very good season. I mean, they're joint top. And as you mentioned, with AC Milan playing them, well, this is top of the table clash. They're both on the same points, same amount of games, same amount of wins, same amount of draws and losses. And the goal difference, well, that's the only difference you've got there, and that's by 6 goals. So it's been a hell of a season in Serie A. Serie A has been great. You've got at least 4 teams in it for the title race. Juve, the outsiders, because they're 7 points behind. But Inter Milan, they've got a game in hand. So if Inter won their game in hand, they would go top, a point ahead of Napoli, and then 2 points ahead. Oh, no, sorry, a point as well ahead of the team that they share the San Siro with, and that is AC Milan. So I'm looking forward to this. I think is it Sunday night at 7:45?
Correct, yeah, Sunday night.
It is.
Yeah.
You see, I love that slot because they always do that with Serie A. They always make sure the biggest fixture on the weekend is normally the last one on a Sunday. And it's never interfering with the Premier League Super Sunday or Bundesliga that day or any other big European league. It's great. It's a great slot. So I think I'll definitely be watching that. Well, actually, I say that's the Welsh Open snooker final, which I plan to do a watch along for. So, damn, I will keep an eye on it. But yes, I think bring it on. It'll be an absolute classic game. Who knows? We might do a watch along this weekend. So do stay tuned for that because it is a cracker on paper.
It's interesting with the stats here, Jamie. It says that the win probability, Napoli 44%, a draw 29%, and Milan 27%. Interesting.
Sorry, say that again.
The win probability on here, it says 44% in favour of Napoli, 29% for the draw, and 27% for Milan.
Yeah, Napoli have just they've just been really good this season. I mean, I think with AC Milan, I'm not that convinced by AC Milan, to tell you the truth. I've seen enough of them where, Giroud's had an all right season. We haven't seen that much of Zlatan as we normally do. He is getting older, but I'm still not sure how they play. But yeah, I can't. It's hard for me to criticise them as well because they are currently in a title race. And the last time AC Milan won the title must have been definitely over 10 years ago, I'm sure. Because we both know AC Milan have gone through some tough years. But to see them back at the top along with Inter after Inter won the league last season, it's good to see that Italian football's got a good mix now instead of Juventus winning it every season.
It does get boring, doesn't it, when the same club wins it every year?
Oh, yeah. That's why they always say watch the J-League. So I think they've had like 9 different winners in the last 14 years.
Have to get into some J-League football then.
Get ready to get up early. You have to. It's always on at like 6 a.m.
maybe record it and then watch it again later.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up the show this week, I'm gonna Jamie to go on about this for the millionth time this week. Just briefly talk about the Carabao Cup final last Sunday. I know some of you probably thinking, "Oh, come on, Jay, that's old news." I know, but I've got to mention the fact that Liverpool won some silverware.
Oh God!
Even if it is an energy drink cup. Yeah,
it's always been named after a drink.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it?
Carling, Coca-Cola,
Worthington. It was
Worthington. Yeah. I'm surprised there's not been a gambling company. Gambling companies are invading football.
A few years ago, it was Capital One, but it just didn't seem right with a bankers.
Nah, didn't work.
And now it's Carabao. Yeah, I went down to Wembley last Sunday and I took Stu Davis along with me as I had a spare ticket, and sadly he missed out on being successful in the ballot. And we had a good time down there. Shame about the coach and all the drama with that, but I'll leave that out.
Yeah, no, do share. So was it you got Was it in National Express that Liverpool fans booked to
It,
get to Wembley, and they were supposed to take you back to Liverpool as well?
yeah, it's a National Express coach, and the club didn't put it on. It was just one that was put on by National Express themselves for Liverpool fans to get to Wembley. It's supposed to pick us up from Liverpool 1 to get us to the ground for 2 o'clock. It was supposed to pick us up at 20 past 9. Hadn't arrived at 20 past 9. Didn't arrive till gone 20 past 10.
I bet that got you lot worrying.
Yeah, it did. And then they had to take their scheduled half-an-hour break outside Stafford. Okay, that's in the laws, so they stuck. But that half-an-hour break turned to 50 minutes because the bus driver decided to take a personal phone call, and we were like, "Come on, lad, we need to get to Wembley." But before that, he asked us where the 62 was, the M62, and we had to direct him to the M62. Got us down the M6, got us to Stafford. As we were leaving the services at Stafford, he went, "Oh, I don't know how to get to Wembley," which was a bit worrying. So we followed the motorway down, got into London, got into Wembley area, and he said, "I don't know how to get to the stadium." So we said, "There's a sign there that says turn left for that." He missed it, so one of the lads put it on his sat nav, and at 4 o'clock we still weren't at the stadium. Now, and we were supposed to be there at 2. So he dumped a load of us off on a busy road, and according to Google Maps, it was a 3-mile journey from there to the stadium, which me and Stu ran.
Oh my God.
We managed to get in time about 10 minutes prior to kick-off and stuff, and we soaked up the atmosphere and had a great time, lots of singing and shouting. You know what I'm like, I always sing and shout at the football. And then on to the nervy bit of penalties. And obviously, as you know, everyone has scored their penalties, goes down to the goalkeepers. Joachim Callagher's in goal because Klopp said he played every game except from the first leg of the semi-final. He said it was only right that he got us to the final, that he played the final, and I respect that from Jurgen. Joachim Callagher stepped up and he stuck his penalty top corner like a seasoned striker. Absolutely brilliant.
Chelsea, that was a great penalty.
The best thing though is Chelsea, about 2 minutes before the end of the extra time, took off Mendy, who saved 2 penalties in the AFCON final, and brought on Kepa, the man that wouldn't leave the cup final in 2019 after having concussion. I was like, this is a bit of a strange one. And then Kepa Arrizabalaga steps up to keep Chelsea in the cup final, blazes it into the second tier of the North Stand at Wembley, sending us Liverpool fans into raptures.
I mean, I had no sympathy for Tuchel at all when that happened. The moment he missed it, I couldn't believe it how far he missed the target as well. I think some say it's still in space, but it was just I just had no sympathy because I just thought I'm sure Mendy is capable of doing a penalty shootout, not just because of his recent history with AFCON, but he's the number one goalkeeper as well for Chelsea. So I think if you've got a number one goalkeeper, you should be confident that they could do every single format in a football match, and that includes penalty shootout. And Keller, I mean, can I just say that before those 2 goalkeepers took their penalties, every single one scored, didn't they? Yeah. And, this got to 11-11 or whatever. And the fact that you had every single player scoring penalties, we've seen it a lot now in football where it's very rare that you see penalties be done after 5 kicks. It normally goes on a lot longer than that now. So it just shows how difficult it might just be for a goalkeeper to get the direction right and then to also make the save. But my favourite one was Van Dijk when Kepa was on the left side of the goal playing mind games with Van Dijk, and Van Dijk still kicked it in his side. And even then, Kepa didn't save it. That's what was really funny. I think Van Dijk stared at him afterwards and basically just told him, I've just won in your mind games there. So, but it was, I think, to be honest with you, I think it was the greatest 0-0 cup final I've seen. It had all sorts, had so many disallowed goals, so many moments with the players, great opportunities for each team. So I think really anyone who won the game deserved it. It was just sadly penalties have to decide it.
Yeah, I was talking to our friend George Harris, Jamie, on the day, Instagram DMing one another and stuff, and we both said that it was a cracking final. Whoever won deserved it. I think it was an enjoyable occasion. My first visit to Wembley as well. I want to go back there again and again and again.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was your first. Yeah, I forgot it was your first.
The craziest part though was obviously I watched the trophy lift and stuff come out the stadium, and my bus wasn't there.
I mean, so were there loads of you trying to figure out how to get home?
Yeah, we were trying to find where the bus was. There was loads of us like wandering around. So I'd rung a mate of mine who I knew had driven down there, praying that he was still around, the area. And he answered, and he said that he was around and he could give me a lift back. Up. So yeah, and I gave him some money for it because
what happened to Stu?
Stu, he decided that he wanted to stay and spend the night, in London and then come back in the morning. So he spent the night down in London and then come back at 5 o'clock in the morning. But I had work the next day, so I needed to get back.
Did he get a hotel?
Apparently he spent the night partying in the streets. He told me so.
So he basically waited until the first train was going back up north. Oh, classic Stu.
Absolute legend, Stu. We love you, mate, and thanks for coming with us.
Oh, bless him. I mean, yeah, fair play to him. Funny enough, Jamie Carragher was getting a lift down to the game, but he got the train instead because the lads that promised him a lift was a car that was like 30 years old. It was so funny. But no, that's poor from National Express. We will shame them on this video. That's poor. Did they even communicate that the bus wasn't going to come?
Nope.
Did you get a refund?
I've put a complaint in. They said we'll see. We hear back from them within 12 days. So hopefully, I'll get my refund.
Well, you should get at least half your money back because you didn't get the journey back home, which is part of the payment. So, that's their problem.
It's not great service, but it doesn't sour the occasion. Probably would have soured it more if we'd lost, thankfully.
Oh yeah. I think you'd have been really pissed off. The moment the game's done, you lose, and then you need to get home. Yeah, that'll get me really pissed off.
But obviously, Liverpool Carabao Cup winners, great occasion. Obviously, they won in the FA Cup last night as well. So hopefully, there could be a double, maybe even a quadruple on the horizon. But let's not get carried away too yet.
I told you we'll be in the Champions League final, so it won't happen.
It would be a great final, wouldn't it? Liverpool United.
We do need one, don't we? We do need one. We've never had a European Cup final between the two. Never had it.
So close in 2008. So close.
So close.
Anyway, this has been the first edition of the Let's Talk Soccer here on Let's Talk Sport. I hope you've enjoyed our first video. Don't forget to like the video, comment on the videos in future, subscribe to Let's Talk Sport. Thanks for Jamie for joining us, and we'll see you all very soon on the channel.
See you, folks.
That was all right, wasn't it?